What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
Things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. Messed up and out of touch, let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Oh no. Hang on. I know I'm ready, right? I'm so ready. No, I didn't realize I had to twist it. Normally I don't. I must be setting a little different on the microphone. So, anywho, I was just checking out the radar, Leol, and wow. So, based on what I'm looking at, pardon me, which I'm not going to opsec you or nothing. But for the moment, if I don't cough to death, for the moment, I'm showing that you're looking pretty good for the moment. It's very, very unstable, I can tell you that. So, yeah, definitely be ready. So, because I see stuff wanting to fire up. And the bad news is tornadoes normally form on the south end of a storm, which puts you pretty much in that area. So that's the way that rolls typically. She should be in here shortly, Angel. I think she's in the bathroom at the moment. Let's see. Oh, now, okay, yeah, now I understand why you were asking so much about the power supplies. Yeah. On that, like I say, if it's a laptop, don't sweat it. Just don't sweat it. You can absolutely go with any of the EcoFlows, and you'll be fine if it's a laptop, because you have the laptop battery that is actually going to intervene in between the time when the power goes out till it kicks over on the EPS system. I always make sure to say that accurate with their products, because it is different, and there is no guarantees, man. There's no guarantees. If it doesn't have, like 0 millisecond switching, or even like sometimes you'll see 2 millisecond switching, and typically that's going to be okay as well. But the closest to 0, the best. 30 is nowhere near close enough. So, but yep. Other than that, man, you can get yourself like I was showing you the different UPS systems. That I don't know if that guy never got back with you or whatever, but that's a hell of a deal. That's a hell of a deal on that one. So, I'd definitely be jumping on that. Oh, sweet. Sweet. Okay, I suspected it was a 3 battery system. And dude, that is freaking awesome. And consider what I was saying when you if you decide to do something with the batteries. Even if you get like 3 20 amp hour batteries, man, that's, the stock batteries for that, if I recall correctly, going from memory, I believe those batteries were 9 amp hour a piece, if I'm not mistaken, from what I was reading on that kit. So yeah, you'd be going from 9 amp hours to 20 amp hours, which is, over twice, if you wanted to go that route. Or you could even use, like I said, boat batteries, literally full-size marine batteries. You just have to have 3 of them. But man, that would power that thing for a little while. But yeah, that thing's worth its weight in gold. And real quick, I'll remind everybody else as well, because this is like something that you're not going to hear from 99.9% of the prepper channels, but it's very useful information. What I am talking about with Leol is an uninterruptible power supply. Now, you see them a lot of times in offices. Maybe some of you have them in your home. And it's just a device that for those that don't know, it's what it sounds like, uninterruptible power supply. It's just a device that you plug into the wall. Your computer equipment plugs into it. And if you have a power outage, it has built-in batteries and a power inverter that can switch over fast enough so that your computer never loses power. So you don't lose data, you don't fry your computer, you don't, a lot of bad things can happen if your power just either surges or just pops out. Or the surges are the worst, and it's kind of the same thing, but when the power just kind of dips down and back up, I mean, that is in and of itself a surge, but I'm talking about one that pulls it all the way down, almost down to where the computer will just shut down, and then the power pops back up. That is the worst surge on a computer. But anyway, besides that, the point of what I was saying, those uninterruptible power supplies are in a lot of offices. So keep that in mind. You know, if the balloon goes up tonight and you don't have a portable power supply or any backup power of any kind, now I don't know how you're going to generate that power if you don't have solar or some other means, but when it comes to converting it into household AC current that you can use for important stuff, including keeping refrigerators going, then you can most certainly use uninterruptible power supplies. And again, they're in a lot of offices. So just tuck that little bit of knowledge in the back of your mind. If you're somebody like us that's monetarily challenged, then, you have to figure out other ways to do things. And those are incredible power inverters. They're pure sine wave and a half. They are very, very clean power because they're intended for computers. So, and you know what? You don't get all the bells and whistles and all the excitement, but you can buy universal, or I used to always call them universal, and that's incorrect. You can buy even brand new uninterruptible power supplies at a fraction of the cost of these fancy solar generators. And most of them, not all, the one that Leo's looking at is obviously a 36-volt system. Most of them are 24. That's not a problem. In fact, my solar charge controller that I have is 12 or 24 volt, either one. So all I have to do is literally hook it up. It will auto detect that it's a 24 volt system, and you just have to use, at least sets of 2 panels in series when you do it, which in my case, for 100 watt panels, I'd run 2P, 2 series, 2 parallel, and that would be enough to recharge the batteries. So just kind of wanted to put that out there because, again, you get a lot of channels out there that want to sell you stuff. I'm not interested in selling you stuff. I'm not interested in making money from you somehow. I'm interested in you being able to kick some ass when whatever it is comes our way. And when I say kick some ass, I don't necessarily mean literally. But, knowing these things, knowing little tips and tricks, knowing what you can use to adapt and modify to work for your purposes is monumental. And it's crucial in the preparedness landscape. And you don't hear that from the other channels, and that's what frustrates me because they're after money. And as a result of being after money, there's a whole lot of stuff that you're not going to be told about. And it's sad. That's just one of the many, many things. How many prepper channels have you heard mention going to office buildings and stuff like that and collecting uninterruptible power supplies? I'm sure not many. But they've got those boxes they want you to click on the link and buy. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But there needs to be a balance. There also needs to be alternatives. Again, like I brought up, the whole, prescription antibiotic service thing, right? That's the craziest thing. That's messed up. All the channels that literally in a week's time, they're, oh no, you can't, no, don't buy fish antibiotics, no. It's like, Oh, sweet. I just looked back down. Yeah, portable power banks are awesome too. I'll tell you what. That is something I wouldn't mind having more of as well. Even just a little bitty, like the Anker USB power packs. I would love to have a couple of more of the big ones. I've got 13,000 milliamp hour ones that are in our radio bags. But I would like to have a couple of the large ones, just because they're incredible. They are absolutely incredible. So, that's one area, provided we don't have an EMP or something and it gets messed up. That's one area that thankfully, I can't say that we have adequately covered, but we've definitely, we definitely have enough to get by as far as when it comes to the power. Shouldn't be any issue at all, really. As long as I'm doing the 4-hour thing with the fridge and not just leaving it plugged in, should be all right. I am not looking forward. Because it's going to suck nonetheless. But anyway. Yeah, just make sure you're light on your feet this evening and keep an eye on that radar. So. And don't wait too long. I don't know your situation. You got it. 4 hours off and 1 on. I don't know if you've got a basement. I don't know. But whatever it is that you got to do, just don't take too long to do it if you need to do it. That's usually people's biggest mistake. I have a friend, bless her heart, that called me 5 minutes before the storm hits to ask what she should do. Hunker down, stick your head between your legs. I mean, you have to be on it way before that. And I know you know that, but that I think is a lot of people's biggest mistakes. I think there are a lot of people that actually lose their life in tornadoes because they waited too long. I think a lot of people did intend to do something, and I think they were in the process of doing that when it hit. And it's a shame. So just make sure you get out ahead of it. Good deal. Yeah, just they're not anything to play with. That's for sure. I was an absolute idiot in my younger days, in my storm chasing days. Not that storm chasing is idiocy, absolutely not. Doing it the way I did was idiocy. But I'm fortunate. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky. There was there was a couple close calls. One very, very close call. But I don't know. Somebody wanted me around, I guess. Ah, that must be the one Jen was referring to. She was telling me earlier about she didn't know what for sure if it was a mini bike or, a scooter or what. A little like, I don't know. It's an in-between a mini bike and a motorcycle. I don't want to call it. It's, I don't know what the hell you'd call it. Back in the day, they'd have like little 80cc mini bikes that were like oversized mini bikes. That's pretty much the size of it. Anywho, I reckon I can do some news. I've been jabbering because I've got 3 articles brought up. Why? Because I'm not going to sit there and go over and over and over something that we have no idea what the hell is really going on. Because it's counterproductive. When it comes to the whole Russia-Prigozhin stuff, right now it's the moment in time, since nothing looks like it's imminent for certain, except for maybe his departure from the earth, that's a given at any moment. But other than that, it's one of those sit back and wait to see what really comes out things, because you're going to get nothing but misinformation. And I think I was wrong with my assessment. I can say that much. I think I was totally wrong as far as thinking that possibly more or less Prigozhin was playing a double role. And I don't know, maybe he clearly did have contact with the U.S. government. So, who knows? Let's see. Oh, fun times. Well, I hear the best deterrent is to go out on your front porch. Now, you can't have a t-shirt on. You can have like a T-top, right? A tank top. You can have a wife beater on, but you can't have a full-blown t-shirt or any kind of shirt. You got to be, got to take that off. You got to have a beer in your hand, something like, I don't know, Pabst Blue Ribbon or something your grandpa won't even drink, and then you have to scream at the tornado, right? With everything you got, right? Get off my lawn, right? You just scream everything you got. And if it's God's will, that storm will move. If it's not God's will, that's the dumbest freaking advice. As Ron White would say, it's not that the wind is blowing, it's what the wind is blowing. I about died when he did that bit. Anyway, obviously I don't have a lot of news really to cover tonight. I got 3 articles open. Other than that, I don't know. The title of the show, the thumbnail, I don't even know if I need to add words. On a serious note, I think every spiritual person has their own bit of scripture they like to cling on to, if you will. And I've said it many times, and I'll keep saying it. Hosea 4:6 is mine. And Father didn't stutter, not even a little bit, when he said that. And that's probably the biggest reason why I get upset with the dumbification of our society. Because individuals that try to come out and try to do the right things are shunned. Individuals that come out and try to give you the proper information, they're shunned. And this isn't a surprise. It's been this way for a very, very long time, but it's reached a level at this point to where you don't have to have any factual basis in any argument, because you can find some website or some dumbass to support you. I'm not meaning you. I'm meaning whoever in their agenda. There's not a problem with the World Wide Web to find somebody that thinks the same crazy, twisted thoughts, no matter what those crazy, twisted thoughts are. In fact, there's probably support groups for it. knowledge is going to be the most important tool. Lately, my head has been going over a dream that I've talked about on the show a number of times. And it's just been popping up in my head quite a bit. And there's probably a fairly good chance that none of you in here now know what the hell I'm talking about. So I'll try to be brief when I say this. I had a dream. And I know some people are like, yeah, okay, I have dreams too. Okay, well, throughout my entire life, and I don't have dreams much anymore. I don't remember them or whatever, but I used to. I used to quite a bit. And I had learned that I had two types of dreams. One type would be completely bizarre and wouldn't be true. But it was pretty obvious because, like, I wouldn't know where the hell I was, or nothing was recognizable, or things would be really super off. But then I'd have another type of dream to where everything was in the right place, everything looked correctly, and all that, and I'll be damned if sometime later on down the road I didn't have a deja vu moment. I have had this my entire life. Kind of hard to shrug it off. And I'd also been able to rather easily identify what dreams was a look into the future and which dreams were just dreams. And one of the dreams that I can guarantee you was a look into the future was a dream, and I mean, even parts of it seem odd to me now, considering everything, my situation, stuff like that, but I was out at the airfield where I used to fly ultralights out of. And the typical people out there, the right people, and just had some bizarre stuff involving aviation, involving aircraft that I saw going overhead, including one aircraft that apparently couldn't keep in flight and had rather easily sat down. It didn't crash or anything like that. And let me tell you, these were not like anything you're used to seeing, or me, for that matter. And I can tell you there was a checkpoint that was at the little volunteer fire department in the town. There was a checkpoint set up there. And the pilot of the aircraft that landed had started walking towards that checkpoint. And so I was walking with him. And I told him, I said, man, I've got a family and stuff. Where can we go? Where can we go that's safe? And he looked at me and he said, safe? You don't understand. This is an extermination. That's it. That was the dream. Now, that was freaky back then. I really couldn't put a whole lot of the puzzle pieces together, or maybe it just seemed like it was too bizarre at the time. But now, sitting here in 2023, thinking back to that, I absolutely cannot tell you there aren't individuals and or groups on this planet that don't want that actual reality. In fact, some of them, including individuals with the last name Gates, are pretty open and honest about it. So, I don't know. I get the feeling that that's probably one of the important things that I'm supposed to put out there. Is that whatever it is, this big ass thing that goes down, it's meant to take us all down. And you need to remember that. Because what that says, and this is even backed up by the word, that you need to be very careful of the help that you choose. Bible talks about how you don't want to go with the first one that comes because that's not him. There's a reason for that. Make sure that you're set up to be self-reliant. That's the best you can do. If the weather permits, you meaning if you don't have a power outage, you're going to sit in your living room and do some fishing. I need to probably try some of that. Do you have a free one? Because I'm a cheap bastard and I'm broke. Are you using a free VR fishing thing? And if so, let me know the name. 'Cause I wouldn't mind. I don't mind swacking golf balls. I probably enjoy throwing a frickin' hook out. Let's see. Alright, well, we're 32 minutes in. I guess we could talk about news. Germany to permanently deploy troops near Russia's border. Yeah. That's gonna help the situation, I'm telling you. Let's see. Okay. Well, I have to check out bait and then I don't know. I'm gonna win the lottery, you know, and there's there's a bunch of games. No, I won't. I'll never go crazy on it. There are a couple though that I do believe I'd like to get. Oh wow. 4 people shot in Forest Park Southeast neighborhood. That's in St. Louis. A new study shows that dolphin mothers, like humans, use a high-pitched tone when communicating with their young. You better get your ass back in this house! Right? That pretty much, Take off my flip-flop! You know, something like that. I saw the link, by the way. Thank you. Anyway, Germany's defense minister, Boris Pistorius. Yeah. Telling you, dude, just walk up to your dad and punch him square in the face. Because that was not cool, man. He said on Monday that Berlin is to station 4,000 troops to Lithuania, a fellow NATO member, as the bloc seeks to fortify its ranks around Russia's exclaves, Kaliningrad. Germany is ready to permanently station a robust brigade in Lithuania, Pistorius said on Monday during a visit to the country's capital, Vilnius, I guess. He noted that facilities and infrastructure will need to be developed to accommodate the influx of German troops. Germany stands by its commitment as a NATO member as Europe's biggest economy to stand up for the protections of the eastern flank. Pistorius continued. He also noted that a deployment of this magnitude could take more than a few months. Pistorius also explained that the deployment must be compatible with NATO's recently redrawn plans on how to respond to threats to its east, which were amended in May for the first time since the end of the Cold War. The military plans are expected to be approved at a NATO summit next month. Vilnius has on several occasions called for Berlin to deploy more troops on its territory, which shares a border with Kaliningrad to the southwest and Belarus to the east. Lithuania already hosts around 1,500 German soldiers as part of a NATO battle group. Last June, Germany stated it had the capability to send a brigade of 3,000 to 5,000 troops to Lithuania within 10 days if that country was attacked. Currently, the brigade command post of around 20 soldiers is stationed in the Baltic country, with the rest posted at various locations in Germany. The Lithuanian border in the Baltics is generally considered to be among the weakest points on NATO's eastern edge. So, we'll see. We'll see. That's not good, though. Absolutely not good. Copy. Which is good. So, this is happening in Denmark begins training Ukrainian pilots for F-16s. I don't know. She just started smiling at me and breathing heavy. I don't know. Anyway, I have no idea what that's about. Denmark's acting defense minister, Troels Lund Poulsen, said on Monday that the NATO country had begun training Ukrainian pilots to operate F-16 fighter jets and that discussions are taking place in Copenhagen about donating some of its fleet of military aircraft to Kiev. Right on. Lund Poulsen, who has served as the Scandinavian country's temporary defense minister since February, said Denmark has taken the step of starting a training and further education effort for the Ukrainian pilots, according to Danish broadcaster DR. We will also consider whether we should make a concrete donation to Ukraine of the Danish F-16 fighters and how many there should be, he added. The Danish government official also stated that the complete phasing out of its fleet of 30 active F-16s, which was initially planned for 2027, had been brought forward to 2025. They will be replaced by 27 state-of-the-art F-35 jets. This switch will begin in late 2023. Ukrainian pilots will require a minimum of 6 to 8 months of training, Lund Poulsen told DR. But this does not mean that you cannot make a decision beforehand, but the F-16 fighter jets will be in Denmark until 2024. Kiev has petitioned Western nations to supply fighter jets to support the country in its conflict with Moscow. Despite initially being reluctant to do so, the United States and other members of the NATO bloc have now allowed Ukrainian pilots to be trained how to operate the F-16 aircraft. However, none have yet committed to supplying Kiev with the fighter jets. The thing is, folks, even if you do run through a crash course in training, pun intended, you're going to be taking those fresh pilots in aircraft that they're not used to up against well-seasoned pilots in aircraft that they've flown so many frickin' hours in, the aircraft itself fits like a glove. And then you add on top of that fifth generation aircraft, and an F-16 is toast. It can't outfly it. It can't out electronically Oh, I don't want to just say jam because there's all kinds of things. There's quite a bit involving the electronics warfare package on an F-22, for instance, and an F-35 and all that. Well, Russia has the same thing. Russia's aircraft are every bit as capable as what the American aircraft are. I don't remember which number exactly, if it's the Su-57. I don't know Russian aircraft that well. However, they have one of them that is pretty much on target on all counts with the F-22. An F-16 will not even come close. That thing will be taken out of the sky any way the Russian pilot chooses, whether they want to stay at a distance and just plop it out of the sky with a missile, or then they want to close in on it and do a little bit of flipping around it while it shoots it with its cannons. There's a reason the F-22 is my favorite plane to fly in the simulator, and that's exactly why, because I like to flop it around in the air like a ballerina. It's a fun plane to fly. You can do that in real life with F-22s and with, again, I don't know if it's the Su-57 or what numbers it is offhand, but Russia have 5th generation fighter jets just as well, same as China. They've got, I think theirs is the J-20, their 5th gen fighter jet. And it's got very, very, very similar capabilities as far as maneuvering and stuff like that as the F-22 and Russia's bird. Now, of course, we can't be certain, or at least me sitting in here in my living room have no clue of, the different types of electronic warfare packages each one has or anything like that. But the F-16 doesn't have the paint. It doesn't have the smaller cross-section design. I mean, don't get me wrong, an F-16 is kind of a tiny bird, and it doesn't look real big looking straight on it. But it is still very, very, very detectable by radar. It's not stealth. The only bit of hope for any stealth you'll get out of an F-16 is out of its electronics warfare package, and that's it. You're not, the design of the aircraft itself nor the paint will be of help. So, which are all, by the way, real super important factors when it comes to stealth. Let's see. So, by the way, I don't think if they started training 4 months ago that they're going to have time to deploy those F-16s before it's over. And I don't see Putin not putting his boot down before they can deliver those F-16s. I don't think he's going to play with it. I think he's just going to finish the job. So I'm not saying nuke it or anything like that. He doesn't have to. All he's got to do is actually, put some troops in there and try to take it over. That's all Putin's got to do. It's not a fair fight. I mean, within reason, it's not a fair fight. I mean, it is and it isn't, but I think you know what I'm saying. Russia's much more capable, much larger, much more people, much everything. U.S. envoy admits Iraq invasion was based on a lie. You don't say. But why is he talking about this, you may ask? Well, that's a little nuts. When they use technicalities like you're about to hear to make excuses for stuff, you really need to understand that foreign governments are reading this same dribble. and they're not buying this nonsense. Says the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq was completely different to the current Ukraine conflict. Washington Special Envoy for Climate Change John Kerry has told French TV channel LCI. He appeared on LCI's Sunday evening show hosted by Darius Rochebin, who had previously interviewed him for a Swiss outlet in 2017. Rochebin tweeted a video segment of the interview in which he confronted Kerry about the West accusing Russia of aggression regarding Ukraine. The French journalist noted that the 2003 invasion of Iraq was an actual war of aggression based on the lie that Baghdad secretly possessed weapons of mass destruction. No, Kerry replied, because there's never even been, a process of direct accusation of President George W. Bush himself. So, just because they didn't go through a formal accusation or all that puts them in the clear? I don't think so. I think we have to go by whether or not they're guilty or not. And he absolutely is. He added that there had been abuses in the course of that conflict and that he spoke out against them. Oh, yeah, you sure did. When Rochebin asked him directly whether the Iraq War had been a crime of aggression, Kerry repeatedly denied it. No. Well, you didn't know it was a lie at the time. The evidence that was produced, people didn't know that it was a lie, the former diplomat said before telling Rochebin that he doesn't intend to re-debate the Iraq War at this point. That's right, because they're not interested in talking about their previous lies. They're interested in talking about their new lies and why we need to support their new wars. I mean, it's of course they don't want to talk about the old ones. That's old news. It's crazy. Like I said, the issue is I'm not some super genius that is the only one that can pick up on that. These other nations aren't buying the bullshit. They're watching it, but they're not buying it. And the more and more our nation does this, the worse off it's going to get. Oh, man. Fun times. Got the headlines here. Not a super ton of them or nothing. There was quite a few when I got up, but there wasn't a ton of them added throughout the day, so. Okay. I guess we'll get these over with and call it a night. I'm game for that. China warned Blinken over Taiwan election, says Wall Street Journal. EU pasta tensions are boiling over, says Financial Times. As long as the debate don't go limp. Let's see. Russian gas exports to southern neighbor surge. Russian MOD releases video showing troops getting the drop on entrenched Ukrainians. Yeah, there's another one video coming up here. Russia MOD release. Oh, you just read that. Russia's defense minister visits frontline command post. Probably a smart move. Washington expected more bloodshed from Wagner mutiny, says CNN. Well, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they paid for a hell of a lot more. I'm kidding. Maybe not kidding. We don't know. Ruble sinks to 15-month low. West museums will keep precious artifacts from Kiev, Moscow warns. Ukraine failed to exploit Wagner coup attempt, says New York Times. You think? Ukraine peace talks to begin in July, says media. White House backs Indian purchases of Russian oil. Macron issues warning over U.S.-China feud. North Koreans rebuke U.S. imperialists in mass rallies. China comments on Wagner mutiny. Conservatives win Greek elections. Oil prices steady after concerns over Russian supplies ease. U.S. backs coup attempts whenever it can benefit, says Lavrov. Kiev's nuclear terrorism allegations are nonsense, says Lavrov. Germany opposes EU plan to transfer Russian assets, says Financial Times. No panic in Africa over Wagner revolt, Lavrov tells RT. Pardon me, had a belt. Number of non-binary students in U.S. state skyrockets. Germany to permanently I covered, that is one I covered. Ukraine has lost 15% of U.S. supplied Bradley fighting vehicles, says New York Times. Deutsche Bank warns clients about Russian shares, says Reuters. Australia's top court rejects Russian embassy bid. Wagner insurrection caused spike in cash demand across Russia. Australia mulls fake news fines for big tech. I can see where that's going to go. U.S. envoys say Iraq I covered that one. Crossbow killer of Russia's sausage king jailed for 20 years. Russia intercepts UK spy plane. Putin to give address that will influence the fate of Russia, says the Kremlin. And that was like really expanding on it. Putin seals Wagner's fate. Putin addresses Wagner betrayal. That was all during his little address. And again, it really wasn't that spectacular. Gruesome footage shows Ukrainian soldiers trapped on minefield, and that is the video I was referring to a little bit earlier. I did actually watch some of that, and it is it's brutal. There's no doubt about that. It's brutal. It's insane. I don't get it. Let's see. No imminent threat to Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, says White House. Hollywood mogul admits to showering Netanyahu with excessive gifts. And lastly, Fox News found replacement for Tucker Carlson, that Jesse Waters dude. So that's going to be who replaces Tucker. So anyway, I guess Jen was back there doing clothes or something. I am going to get out of here for the evening. Maybe make an early night to bed. And God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. So I hope everybody has a good night. Leol, you stay safe, brother. And don't wait too long if you need to bolt. And God willing, I will see all you cats tomorrow night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.